good morning. Here is where I sit when I have Zoom calls, and so I'm like, you know, this is a pretty good spot to sit down and film a video, so here we are. Gosh, it's so weird. I don't know how to start this video. I need to change my Instagram bio, and that sounds pretty simple, pretty superficial. I don't know, but this has been something that it's really painful for me to change. My Instagram bio currently takes me back to 5 years ago. Things were going so well, and I was really, really proud of everything that I had in my bio. This is a place that so many people get to know who you are when they first come across your page. This is where brands go to see what you're all about. And it was a really big sense of accomplishment for me. If you look at it, the very first thing on there is co-owner Bollie brand. Oh my gosh, this is so silly. I really thought I was gonna be just fine doing this video. Co-owner Bollie brand, that was the very first thing I had on there. And then the second thing that I had on there is ebook, griffithscookbook.com. And then the third thing that really identified me at the time, we were doing so much travel, was Hoellein travels and the Hoellein 13. That was our house build hashtag. And then obviously my YouTube link. Those were my identifiers. And I think the reason that it has taken me so long to change my bio is because I don't want to not identify with those things. And I think moving on, I haven't been able to change those things in there because I haven't felt ready to move on from them, I guess. Even though my voice is shaking and I'm kind of crying, it's because I haven't put thought to it. This has always been in the back of my brain. And sometimes when I do sit down videos, I have notes of things I want to talk about. I didn't do any of those things. I literally just sat down and I thought, you know, it'll come to me. Whatever I want to say, it's going to come to me. So I need to change my bio. My life looks a whole lot different than it did 5 years ago. And I just feel like I can't take these things out until I address them. And I think therapeutically, sitting down and making a video about it is going to be really awesome for me. And also, I have been shown so much support in those areas. And so I didn't want to just erase it and not address it, because to this day, I get people asking do you have any robes anywhere that I could sell? Do you have any used robes that you don't use anymore that I could buy from you? I never got a chance to buy them from you, and I really, really want to. And if you watch my vlogs, you will see that I still, to this day, wear my robe every day. And it's one of the original robes, and so it's been around, and yeah, it was such a good piece. One of the reasons that I built this house is because we were renting spaces for Bollie brand, which is a brand that me and my sister created together. We were constantly renting out places to do photo shoots in, and we were looking for who has a really beautiful home that we could do pictures in. And Ellie was, at the time she was building, or maybe I can't remember if she had started building yet or not. We had decided, let's just build our own homes. I needed a little more space because I needed an office. We were constantly having samples in, people over, meetings, and I genuinely had a need for an office. And so I thought, you know, I'm gonna build my own house. And I was toying with the idea of doing a photography studio that I could rent out to people, which was kind of the idea in the shop. We were gonna kind of do something like that in the shop maybe. We thought about putting our warehouse in the shop, moving the warehouse into our shop here. So we had some big ideas to move forward with Bollie as it was growing. And so now that I'm in the home, there were the placement of the windows, the certain walls that were nice, big, and flat. We were going to utilize those for photo shoots. When I was designing the home, I had Bollie in mind the whole time. I have an office that was going to be dedicated to Bollie. The guest room, I always envisioned having one of everything that we owned, one in every size, so that when company or guests came over, they could just kind of shop in the closet, or if they had something that they forgot, they could always just put a robe on. That consumed my brain when I was building the home. And so to sit here now, the office is empty, the guest closet is empty and no photo shoots are being done. That was something that was really hard to move into the home and always have on my mind, that I had to mourn, that I've had to move through and past. So to give you kind of a timeline of events, and this is why I also haven't wanted to sit down and talk about it, because it does involve my older sister and I don't want to talk about her. I don't want to think about her. And so it is kind of hard to share this part, but it's part of the story. We had a few launches under our belt and we were gearing up for our biggest launch yet. This was leading into COVID. This is part of the story, so I'm going to share it with you. We each put in a lump sum into Bollie to get it going. Whatever we put into the business in the beginning, we bought inventory, we sold inventory, made a profit, and then used the profits to buy more. And then we sold all of that, which we made more. And so it was just kind of this little snowball. We had our latest launch that we did all of our research and development for. We were in the process of getting our samples made, and then COVID hit. Everything stopped. So at this point, we've spent money, we don't have anything to sell, and everyone was at a standstill. About the same time is when Ruby cut us all off. That really threw us personally for a loop. So the business was thrown in for a loop because of COVID. Our personal lives were thrown through a loop because of my sister, and it was bad. That was a really hard time, and from then on, there was no communication until the day she was arrested. And I still haven't had any communication, but like we didn't know anything until she was arrested. And somewhere close in there is when Ellie moved to St. George. So there was all these pieces that were kind of hard to, it just made it impossible to be able to run Bollie. If you look back at the Bollie TikTok that we started, I remember I was like, I've got to like post something, but I can't get myself out of bed. It was kind of a joke, not even like a joke, but I think people would interpret it as kind of like a joke of me just like sitting in my robe on my bed. And like that was the TikTok, but I remember it was it was everything I could do to even just do that. And I'll just speak for myself. I had nothing left in me to give. It was really hard to care about that because at the time it was kind of just like a side thing, and so literally it just went the way of the wind. We eventually sold all of our inventory and we just never put anything back into it, and that's just where it left off, which was really sad because we had the best team in New York. I, to this day, love them so much and I miss them so much. And I miss traveling to New York. I miss working on Bollie. And the launch that we had, there was such good pieces. They were such good pieces that we were gonna launch. To this day, I wonder, I'm like, what if? But I don't know. I don't know if we would ever do anything with Bollie again, but I feel a little shaky. Makes me sad. We were trying to raise our families, and that has always been the most important thing for us. And Bollie took a lot of time and energy and effort. And so when our personal lives got uproared and we had a YouTube channel that we were trying to maintain, which we did a really good job of doing, it was kind of one of the first things to go. Even though I loved it, it was something that had to take a back seat. And then the cookbook, that was a really beautiful thing. That was a really personal and just a labor of true love. It did really well. The book sold really well. Obviously, with my oldest sister being on the cover and throughout the book, we would never sell that again. I think that I would love to do a cookbook on my own. I get the same questions about the cookbook that I do about our robes, which is, do you have any that you could sell to us? I never got a chance, or something happened to it or whatever. And so I would love to do a cookbook and include all of the recipes in the back of the book without some of the pictures, and just have that in the back so that people that wanted those could have those in the back. But even then I'm like, ugh, like I don't know if I want to do that. And like Bollie, I have so many wonderful memories of doing the cookbook, and it was something that I was really, really proud of, that now I don't get to have as an identifier with me. Now that I feel like I'm getting my feet back under me, I'm getting my mind straight again, I feel like it would be really fun to do my own cookbook. I think that that would be a really fun project for me. I was so scared to sit down and film this video, but I feel really good sitting here. I feel really happy. I feel, for the first time in a very long time, I feel maybe hopeful for something positive and good in my future. There was, for the last couple of years, there was not any hope of being happy again. There was no hope of having the strength or energy to put towards a new project or to do anything good again. And I am so grateful that I can say and mean that there really is good times ahead. I think that's taken a lot of work to get to this point. You know that trend that says that it's like homesick for a place I'll never be able to go again, and it's like a picture of their grandparents, like them with their grandparents or something. I think about that so often. There's this feeling that I get that it does feel like homesick for the life I had, and I feel like that is kind of how I feel with this Instagram bio. It's almost like frozen in time, like how happy I was, how thriving I was, and how successful I felt. And so I feel like by removing that it's just gone, even though it is gone. That phase, that lifetime, that person is no longer here. But for the first time, I feel like I'm going to be able to replace it with something, and hopefully it will be a positive, good thing. And I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'm sure there is something good around the corner. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.